On July 21st, 2024, I created an animation for a fan-made friend I came up with for the game Nova Island, and it was a critical success. But you might be wondering how I managed to make it in the first place. How was I able to replicate the style to such a degree? Well, this video is going to go into that process, starting with the concept sketches, then moving on to the creation of the assets, and finally the rigging and animation. Now, as a quick heads up, I'm not an expert at 2D animation, and I have no idea what Nova Island's animators' processes are, so take all of what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But basically, in order to fully explain how Slacker works, I need to dive a bit into the technical process of Nova Island's animation. As you might have guessed, Nova Island's friends are not animated frame by frame. Rather, the animators use Spine, a 2D puppet animation program that allows them to create rigs. Rigs essentially break down a character into its most fundamental pieces, and allows you to move said pieces individually to create animation. When you connect an image to a bone, it moves, rotates, and scales with that bone. But you might notice an immediate problem: bones do not curve. So how come some friends' appendages can? Well, the other part of 2D puppet animation is turning images into meshes. In animation, a mesh is basically a bunch of points that connect to surround and define the shape of an object, whether they be its edges or corners or points within the image. When you move these points, the surrounding area in the image moves as well, which allows you to deform an image to fit perspective, such as a turning head, or allow you to, wouldn't you know it, make something curve. This is how Hackmaster's tentacles are able to move around so freely, and how Distortion friends are able to look three-dimensional despite not. But these tactics are everywhere. It's most noticeable on friends with arms, the hair on the in-game pros, which also uses the same process of animation, and Bruiser, where it looks, yeah. No shade to the animation team, by the way. They've created some seriously impressive stuff. They've done so much and squeezed in a lot of detail in each of the animations that I'm willing to forgive them for Bruiser's arms being less than perfect. The last most used technique are clipping masks, which allow you to define a shape, then bind an image to that shape, removing anything outside of the area. This is how you're able to stare into the vast expanses of space in some Cosmic Friends capes, or just when they're entering the field. Alright, that was quite a bit of yap, so let's get into my process. Now the first step is to design the friend. I have a couple sketches from when Slacker was first created, but ultimately landed with a circle thing with retractable legs. Cyber friends are completely metal, except for some colored parts, and together they make a rainbow, so I went with the next best color, brown. Now that we have the concept on paper, we need to get the right tools for the job. So let's download Oh damn. So let's download Dragon Bones, a free alternative for people without a disposable income or any income at all. It lacks clipping masks, and I'm pretty sure it's not being developed anymore, but I can make this all work. It's alright. Next up, to create the assets, I used Inkscape for vector graphics, since I'm not very good at clean line art. As a quick tip, you probably want to figure out what your animations are going to be before you actually make the assets, so you don't end up doing anything unnecessary. With all the parts finally created, it's time to assemble the rig in Dragon Bones. This took quite a bit of tinkering since all my past attempts at making meshes were failures, but I persevered and by the end I got this. The face can turn and it looks really nice. I separated the horizontal and vertical movements while I was creating it just to make things easier on my small brain, and adjusted the head and side lights accordingly. As for the animation, I didn't get any footage of this part as it was slowing down my software considerably, but by this point I was pretty pooped out and I cut a lot of corners, but the key idea remained: to make an uninterested, constantly sleeping bot except for in critical moments or when it just feels like waking up, hence the ability in emote animations. Every other time it is fast asleep. Speaking of, the glow in the ability is made possible because in the puppet animation, I am also able to change an image's color, which includes opacity. A tweak on the color is how distortion triangles rotate and darken as they move away from the camera. For a lot of animations, I reuse previous parts of other animations. You can call it resourcefulness or laziness, I don't really care, but in the end, we have this. I feel like there's a lot more I could do with this rig, and some animations are definitely slower and not as snappy as Nova Island's, but overall I'm still proud of what I made, and I hope you like it too, along with this technical explanation of animations.